Mojave Desert. Harsh, unforgiving, unrelenting. Out here, temperatures can reach as high as 56 degrees Celsius. It's home to what is frequently the hottest place on Earth, Death Valley. This kind of heat can kill you in only a few hours if you're not prepared. So why are we out here? Would you believe it all started with trying to do something nice for my friends? Ah yes, the sausage sizzle. A staple of Aussie culture for as long as there's been Aussie culture. To you, it might just look like a sausage on a slice of bread, and that's because it is. But it's also the cornerstone of a culture that's all about no frills. It doesn't have to be fancy as long as it tastes good. They even somehow became a mainstay of voting booths, as part of a tradition called, and this is true, the democracy sausage. And really, what better metaphor for your country's political climate than swallowing a girthy sausage? Which is sadly not an experience my American friends are familiar with. The sausage part, not the political climate part, because whew. Yes, America. As we all know, it's the only country in the world. It's also where I've met good friends, like Shotaro and a guy who's also named Matt. One of our favorite things to do is explore delicious food from other cultures in the big city. So inevitably the question arose, what do Australians eat? At first, I wasn't really sure what to say. I, like many Australians, would often joke we didn't really have any culture, with most of our best stuff imported from Europe or nearby Asia.
What's the difference between yogurt and Australia? Yogurt has culture.
But you know what? We're all being a little self-deprecating. Wikipedia has a surprisingly elaborate article listing all sorts of Australian food that you can't get anywhere else. So then it clicked. Why don't I try hosting a good old Aussie barbecue in America? I mean, how hard could it be? Okay, let's find some snags. The answer was surprisingly difficult. From the strangely sugary bread,
Damn, that reads like the Bible.
to sausages that only vaguely resembled food. Yep, we were definitely in America.
Low-key, this food but I can't stop eating it.
We were already struggling to find anything Australian, except for these meat pies, but then other Matt turned me off them.
I tell you, the only thing that Marie Callender's pies are good for is sticking your penis in it.
So I got what seemed like the closest thing to Aussie sausages, and as a backup got burgers, because who doesn't like burgers? It seemed like we had enough to get started, but then my friends threw me one last curveball. Okay, yeah, chances are one of the first things you think of when you think of Australia is the cute and bouncy kangaroo. But Australians know them as a vengeful creature that with one wrong move will fight you to the death. Even so, we still like them and don't really eat them. You can, and ecologists argue that you should to save them from overpopulating themselves to extinction, but most Australians just aren't interested. They're just so damn cute. Which is an odd way of deciding which animals get to live or die, but anyway. My friends were still curious though, and discovered that if they wanted even a chance of finding kangaroo meat in America, we would have to leave California, which has banned it on and off since 1971. So the next thing I knew, we were headed for the border. No, not that border. After 4.5 hours, getting squirted in the face and getting propositioned,
Are you guys want to party?
we made it to Vegas, and already I was starting to feel surprisingly at home. It's true what they say, Vegas is a crazy place. But not because of whatever the hell this is. No, it's because it's honestly hard to believe this city even exists. Whose idea was it to put a bunch of luxury resorts in the middle of one of the fiercest deserts in the world? A place where the climate is so harsh they resort to building entire walkable cities indoors.
Bro, I swear I'm in a Gary's Mod swept where like all the renders are low and slightly off and the skybox doesn't even work.
Yet relaxed laws on gambling in the 1930s, as well as construction of the Hoover Dam bringing a lot of transient young men to the area, jump-started an entire city built around entertaining visitors. But we weren't here for any of that. We actually were going to need to treat Vegas like a city that real people live in, which was an eye-opening experience.
Dude, she is tanking the heat.
But surely here, in the city that bills itself as the entertainment capital of the world, we'll be able to find someone that sells kangaroo meat.
Do you know if you sell any kangaroo meat? You don't think? No? No. Okay, thank you.
I guess Americans don't want to save kangaroos either. As hard as we looked, we couldn't find anyone that sold kangaroo. A few people offered to import it, but only at prices that were way out of our budget. It seemed we'd come all this way to the desert for nothing, and the heat was really getting on our nerves.
I feel my HP draining.
I contemplated our next move over dinner while Shotaro filmed it for his YouTube channel. He even got invited into the kitchen because, for some reason, only I get kicked out of places when I pull out a camera. Oh well, I was just glad to get some relief from the heat. But that's when I realized, out here in the middle of the desert, we could do an experiment I'd wanted to do for a long time. For years, I've seen videos of people cooking food in their cars or on the pavement in America's vast desert. Could we take this to the extreme and do our Aussie barbecue with the sun? Everyone was intrigued, and we decided to give it a go. My plan was a little more ambitious than just cracking an egg on the pavement. One of other Matt's university professors had donated an old rusty satellite dish to me when he learned I made tech videos. At first, I didn't really know what to do with it, but it seemed like we finally found a use. A satellite dish isn't just shaped like that to look cool, it's actually to focus light from a wide surface area onto a single point. If you imagine a bunch of mirrors all turned inwards to reflect towards the same spot, that's basically what a satellite dish is. If we could make it a little more reflective to maximize the amount of light it focused, we could create effectively an invisible stovetop. At least, that was the theory. So we got to work. First we had to sand it down because it gathered a lot of rust after sitting in the professor's backyard for 15 years. Meanwhile, excited for this barbecue, other Matt had taken it upon himself to learn some Aussie slang. Or at least what he thought was Aussie slang.
Not here to spiders, right?
Exactly.
Then we had to figure out how to remove this piece on the front. And pretty much immediately, we ran into a problem.
Oh, I was going to try and get this out, but it looks like it's been welded to it, so we're going to have to use some force, I suppose.
Working with fairly limited equipment, we tried everything we had access to. We tried using a hammer and chisel to separate them, and when that didn't work, we tried using a saw.
Really brings me back to Fishwick.
But this was hopeless.
I hope we're not destroying the teeth out of the shit.
That's the concern.
Don't worry. You know, I put it back in the drawer, and it's not like my mom's gonna see this.
We were getting so desperate, we were coming up with improvised ways of welding.
In theory, we could build another satellite to heat it up.
But then, we made another realization.
You know what we could do? We could unscrew this.
Good point. While I initially assumed we'd keep the frame to help us prop up the dish, given the circumstances, this seemed like the best solution by far. Not that this still wasn't a challenge because the bolts were rusted in place. But as the sun set, we had finally liberated our satellite dish.
Alright.
And it's at times like these you start thinking about the people you love in your life.
Damn, I gotta respond to Yuka and explain like why I'm ghosting right now. And I gotta be like, I'm building a death ray. Don't worry, I'm most normal American.
Of course.
The next day, we discovered technology. Naturally, this made me very excited.
Strike a pose. Ooh, drop that.
With this, we were able to make the dish even smoother.
Wow, that's so smooth. You know, you can put your bare cheeks on that, and I bet it'd feel pretty good.
While we may have been able to polish the dish to a mirror shine, I had opted for the easiest solution of buying what called itself highly reflective material on Amazon. The sanding was really just to remove the rust so the material had a better chance of sticking. My original plan was to try sticking it to the dish in strips to work around the dish's curvy shape, but I was also under the impression that the material was adhesive, which it wasn't. But it was suggested to us that it might be possible to glue it as one big piece, which sounded pretty good, so we thought we'd give it a shot.
With the metal Mario?
Knowing that everything would come down to this moment, we rubbed the satellite for good luck and went for it. Unfortunately, I was right. The satellite's strange shape made the material bunch up in the corners, which we probably should have seen coming. It was definitely more reflective, but the end result was a bit wrinkly.
Oh, what the serious Sam?
What do you think? It might only be like 90% efficient, but as long as it's hot enough to cook something, it doesn't really matter if it's 100%. To be honest, I was putting on a brave face, but deep down I was a little skeptical. Like, yeah, this stuff was pretty reflective and did have some ability to focus light.
Localized entirely in your garage.
But would this thing, wrinkles and all, really be enough to cook something? I hope it works. We still had to wait for the glue to finish drying, so in the meantime, we decided to try a hand at making a classic Australian dessert from scratch.
Good old Matt was doing this by hand, and I'm like, bro, what are you doing?
How does it feel to be making white people food?
Wow.
Things were going great. Even the dog was getting excited.
Wow. Wow.
They looked good, but other Mats seemed to think there was something vaguely sexual about them.
Well, this one looks like a vagina that's infected.
You know, I don't really see it. Anyway, it was time to fill them up with cream. Pavlova was named after a Russian ballerina and was invented in either Australia or New Zealand. Both countries claim to be the true origin of the dessert, but I suspect New Zealand is wrong.
Hey man, oil me up, slap my ass, and call me Nancy.
Okay.
With those done and the satellite dry, it was time to leave civilization and find a good spot to try this out.
Let's f some spiders.
By 10 AM, it was already over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. Luckily, we were prepared for the extreme heat and sunlight.
Alright, I'm gonna lube up.
At least most of us seem to be.
Bro, you look like the crack dealer from Grand Theft Auto San Andreas.
Damn.
Considering that we're dealing with a lot of light and heat, we thought maybe sunglasses wouldn't be enough, so got these instead.
With that, it was time to give the satellite a test. We still had no idea whether this thing would actually work, so to start out, we decided to revive our inner 10-year-old boy.
Oh, holy.
Is it bright?
Yeah, it's
Holy
so...
it's smoking.
Oh my god.
Okay, it's working. So that works.
Oh gosh.
Let's cover it up.
Woo. It really does work.
Now that we knew it could make things hot, we debated what the best way to suspend a pan above it would be.
Oh, that's what you mean. I'm just worried about the tripod getting scorched if we mess up.
That was a good point. These tripods were kind of expensive. So instead, we thought maybe if we could extend the pan's handle, we could just hold it over the satellite, almost like roasting marshmallows over a campfire.
The nice thing about that is that if it does start getting a little hot, we can just move it off immediately.
Indeed.
Conveniently, I had a bunch of aluminium in my car from another project, and some of it could be easily wired to a pan.
This must be riveting entertainment.
Soon enough, we got something pretty damn sturdy.
Oh, but the leverage is kind of weird.
Yeah, we're gonna be like...
It works though. Pizza is served.
Between unloading the cars, setting up the cameras, and finally building this, we'd already been out here for an hour and a half, and we were starting to feel it.
How are your eyes? Do you feel them drying out in the desert heat?
I feel my skin drying out.
Racing against certain death in the desert, we unveiled the satellite and gave it a go. And pretty quickly, we ran into a problem.
Where is it most concentrated? I don't know. Can someone look below to see if it's concentrated?
Thankfully, other Matt provided some clear and helpful instructions.
Okay, back. Maybe down a little bit. Forward. No, towards Matt.
But it was no use. Trying to hold the pan in just the right place for long enough to get anything more than slightly warm ended up being impossible.
That's unfortunate though, because it's a cool rig.
It was back to plan A. We were going to use and potentially sacrifice one of my camera tripods to hold the pan in one place, and then find some way to prop the satellite up underneath it. I got to work while the wind helped us recreate the world's worst sound effect.
Holy crap, are you okay?
I'm all good.
Okay.
Oh, that was quick.
Obviously, it wouldn't be good to have it swinging in the wind, but thankfully, I had a trick up my sleeve.
That might actually work.
With just a little more reinforcement, we had our rig. Despite the setbacks, we were still feeling pretty optimistic.
I think it's gonna work. I'm hungry and I'm ready to eat some stags.
All we had to do now was find just the right spot.
Right there.
But as far as propping it up, we had to improvise. Thankfully, this gave me a chance to show off my muscles.
Heck yeah. I'm feeling good about this.
As we watched the temperature climb, Sho devised a plan to test out the heat.
Should I pour some water on it?
Oh yeah, see if it boils.
We hoped for the kind of explosive reaction we got with the paper. What we got instead was... nothing.
It's definitely focused. We might just have to wait for it.
So we waited, while the pan kind of, sort of seemed to be doing something. But when Shotaro in his Martian outfit went to check later on, the situation was largely unchanged. If anything, it was even less hot.
It's only about 150.
We were confused. It had all started out so promisingly. Why were we now getting nothing?
But it burned the paper.
It did, yeah.
What's wrong, Matt?
There was nothing I could say. It seemed like my worst fears had come true. The satellite just wasn't enough to cook anything. We regrouped and came up with some new theories.
Maybe it's just because it's so reflective. Maybe it's bouncing most of it off.
I think that's what's happening.
Yeah.
If the pan really was too shiny, we wondered if it was worth driving back into town to get a darker one.
Let's get a small cast iron pan about this big. I think that would do it.
But it turns out we didn't need to.
We can have it hit the side of a pot. You know the pot I brought that's black?
Do you have that pot?
Yeah, I do.
Let's do it.
Other Matt, who had been on a strict diet before today, had brought his own cookware and just happened to have left it in the car.
This would do it.
So it was back to the drawing board. Again. Would third time be the charm, or would it be the third strike and we'd be out? One thing's for sure, the heat was wearing us down. We were all feeling noticeably less optimistic. Shotaro was starting to sound stoned.
Okay, someone hold the pot.
I also wondered if getting the satellite out of the tripod's shadow might help.
The shadow is going this way, so if anything, we should be pointing the satellite in this direction.
You think? Okay, let's do it.
This was looking promising, so we decided to try the water test again.
Yo, Matt, you should
Coming
actually
in.
get close to this in case something cool happens. Oh, nothing cool happened.
Once again, we decided to leave it and see what would happen.
I gotta say, these welding goggles make pretty killer sunglasses.
Yeah.
Like, it's very comfortable for the eyes.
Yet several minutes and temperature checks later, it still wasn't reaching the kind of temperatures we hoped we would get. It was clear to me that the water was acting kind of like a heat sink. It would reach just below boiling temperature, but the water stopped it going any higher. Obviously, we could take the water out.
But if water's making it do that, then the meat's not gonna cook, is it?
Probably not. How are you guys feeling about cooking with the sun?
We're
It's a lot harder than I thought.
To be honest, we were about ready to give up.
If this doesn't work, I don't think we need to bother getting a cast iron because it probably won't work there either.
Yeah.
This point seemed like it was a lost cause, and we were really starting to struggle.
Yeah, because I don't know how much longer I could be out here.
Yeah.
It's so hot.
Even our cameraman Aditya, who grew up in the heat of northwest India, was starting to feel the strain. But before we left for good, I decided I'd give it one more shot. This time, I was going for broke. And well, this monstrosity is what we ended up with. This was the sharpest focus we had managed so far. With the satellite propped up on rocks and boxes from the back of my car, this was the make or break moment. If this wouldn't work, nothing would. So we just went for it. We brought out the burgers and thought, worst case, maybe we could slow cook them and get food eventually. We were so pessimistic, in fact, that our two cameramen weren't even bothering to film, and our other two cameras had been knocked out by either the heat or the wind. So this moment, unfortunately, went completely uncaptured.
Oh,
Oh, yo, someone get a camera. Hurry. Listen to that. Listen, it's actually cooking.
Softly but surely, this burger was sizzling away. Re-energized by our sudden success, we set to work initiating what was sure to be a gourmet experience.
Alright, those are tomatoes.
One sun-cooked burger, flipping over. It's not exactly what Gordon Ramsay would call a great sear, but it'll do the job.
Oh, I actually smell it.
After 4 grueling hours in the desert, we finally made it. And just to complete the Australian experience, some flies joined the party too. All that was left was to take an obligatory selfie and give it a taste test.
Alright, so we're gonna try it right here. It's cooked quite well, actually. I would say that's well done. Let's try it out.
Is that actually good?
It is pretty good.
I'll give it a bite. Right.
Pretty good, right?
That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Respectfully, that's busting.
We got our cameraman Edith here to try it.
Cooked by the sun.
Finally, it was my turn. When I realized we had made something not only edible but good, I couldn't help but smile.
It's actually really good. It's actually a good burger.
Somehow we'd snatched victory from the jaws of defeat. Though it did occur to us that there was really nothing Australian about this.
We made an American cheeseburger though.
With the power of the sun.
Yeah. Did you guys just throw that bare ass in the pan?
Pretty much.
Bro, no water or oil, it was just straight up rock.
Pretty much.
That's actually pretty impressive. You didn't even salt it before you put it on. Ramsey would be screaming, but this is delicious.
I'd like to see him try this.
And yes, if you're watching Gordon Ramsay, that was a challenge.
Any closing thoughts, bro?
Future notes, make a stand.
And what better way to celebrate our victory than with some dessert?
We made these palovas.
Damn.
Yeah, they didn't quite hold up. In fact, nothing had really survived out here.
Oh, that looks like
But you know what? They still tasted pretty good. Until my friends started trying to make it more American.
Oh, here we go. I got lettuce, ketchup, and the pavlova.
Just as God intended.
I came here to do 2 things. Chew bubble gum and get in relationships with spiders. And I'm all out of gum.
Against all odds, we were having fun again. Sure, it wasn't quite the Aussie barbecue I had intended, but in the end, we were having a good time out with our mates. And really, isn't that what it's all about? And as the sun set, we realized there were great things to be found out in the desert. Personally, I still wouldn't want to live out here, but I was starting to see why someone would. So can you barbecue with the sun? Well, as long as you have something to concentrate it, yes, you can make a pretty damn good burger with nothing but sunlight as an energy source. It's not easy and it's not fast, but if for some reason it was all you had, it gets the job done. With enough time and patience, you could probably get something that works reasonably well. But with any luck, you won't have to. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye guys. Before you go, if you'd like to see some clips that didn't make it into this video, including other things we tried to cook with the satellite, check out this Patreon and members exclusive video, link in the top right and in the description. And also huge thanks to all of my current patrons members scrolling on the screen right now for making this video possible. Okay, now for real, bye guys.